Dating tips for easily finding the right partner. Looking for love? These tips will help you find your dream partner and build a meaningful and mutually enriching relationship. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. Today we want to talk about dating and relationships, and I'm very glad to talk about that. This is a fantastic topic that a lot of folks, millions of Americans and citizens of the whole globe are interested in hearing. And I hope you're doing fantastic. And if you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea. But let's roll. Now, before we talk about dating per se, I want to say you need to have a clear idea of dating as well as your expectations. In other words, what do you want exactly? So when you start looking for a long-term partner or you want to get into some kind of a romantic relationships, right? You need to have a set of expectations. Now, I'm not telling you to have a predetermined set of expectations, because those are usually unrealistic. Everybody wants the perfect, the dream man or the dream girl. Those are usually better because they are dream material, right? Don't think about how the person should look, how he or she should behave. Don't think about how the relationship should go on. Don't even think about the roles that you will play or fulfill in the relationship, or the role he or she should be playing. No, because the thing here is that this set of expectations, those things, you got them from what? From your parents, from your friends, from your social circle, from your past experience, right? Or because you've seen so many Hollywood productions, you are thinking about ideals. There is a reason why those are called fiction, right? It's because the ideal relationship, whatever we see on TV, does not exist in real life. That's why it's called fiction. So it's very important to ditch those unrealistic expectations from your mind before seeking a potential partner. All right, it's very important, because the last thing I want you to do is to be disappointed because you can't find the right man or right woman. All right, so have a clear idea of dating and your expectations. What I'm trying to say here is that keep your expectations reasonable, right? Think about what do you want exactly. Now, you want to consider what's really important, because when it comes to finding out what's important, what's really important, there is a distinction to be made between needs and wants. What do you want versus what do you need in a partner? Those are very important. Now, just to give you a simple explanation here, wants are negotiable, needs are not, right? So you need to sort of play around with those two concepts. What do I want and what do I need? All right. So wants may include things like, the person's hair color, the weights, the heights. Those are physical attributes, right? You can also think about psychological or mental attributes. You want someone who has a PhD, who has intellect, somebody who has a master's degree or a lawyer, whatever. Then you're talking about occupation. So the wants could be professional, personal, physiological, and psychological. All right. Now, the thing here is that those traits, those wants are important. They might be crucial at first, but think about 20 years from now or 30 years from now. Would that partner that you're looking for now, would he or she have the same hair color, the same weights, the same occupation, the same intellect? I mean, we have, unfortunately, a higher incidence of Alzheimer's and other, Parkinson's disease and other mental, if you will, some, mentally disabling diseases. So my point here is that the wants change over time. That's why they are negotiable, right? So it may be important in your case to find someone who is, curious, for instance, rather than intelligent, right? Somebody who's generous rather than, beautiful or handsome, right? Someone who has humor rather than wealthy, because those things change, right? You want someone who is sensual affectionate rather than sexy, right? So those are things you want to think about. Now, you can also say, I want, someone who has the same values as me. But over time, those values might change, right? So, but it's just this a lot better because the values would change. But chances are, if you find someone who has the same value as you, even if those values change over time, your values might adapt to their values too, right? So that's always a good bet, as opposed to saying, I want someone from a specific, congregation, religious congregation, or somebody from a specific ethnic or social background, right? Being part of having an ethnic background is not necessarily a prerequisite for marriage, and is not a criterion for success, rather, also, right? So those are the ones. Now let's talk about the needs. As I said, the needs are things that are not negotiable. So you want, someone who has ambition, who has values, who has goals in life. The idea here is to define your own values, your own needs, before you put yourself out there, either offline or online on those dating websites, or just using Tinder or whatever you want to use. You want to make sure that you are clear on your needs. Remember, the needs are values. All right. What's very important here is that you got to ask yourself, as you start meeting someone, you don't want to tell the person right away, hey, listen, here are my criteria. Do you meet them? If yes, thank you. Stick around. If not, no. You want to study the person. You want to give it time. You want to be patient. And this is what I'm going to talk about in the second section here. And right after this, don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're talking about dating tips for easily finding the right partner. Now, I'm inviting you, I'm begging you to ditch the usual cliches and myths about relationships and dating. Okay, the things here is that when looking for lasting love, please forget about what looks right. Forget what you think should be right. Forget what history has taught you. Forget what your friends, parents, or other people think is right. Ask yourself, does this relationship feel right for me? Is it perfect for me? How do I feel deep inside when I wake up at 2 a.m? Do I feel comfortable with this relationship? And you have the answer in your heart. So the thing here is that many people have those answers, but they fall prey to a whole host of cliches and myths, right? For instance, basically people are thinking, I can only be happy and fulfilled if I'm in a relationship. You don't have to. You can be perfectly single and enjoy life. People have different needs, right? So some people even think about, people adopt the victim approach, thinking, oh, you know what? It's just better to be in a bad relationship than no relationship. No, you don't have to be in a bad relationship unless, you really have some kind of issues, but then no, it's not normal. Sometimes it's better, not sometimes, it's always better to be ill accompanied it's better to be alone than ill accompanied, right? And another thing is that people are thinking, you want love at first sight. So, if you're not attracted to someone instantly, then it's not a relationship worth pursuing. No. This is a big myth that we need to dispel right now. Remember, I was telling you earlier, you got to think about what you need, not what you want. And if you don't feel attracted to someone instantly, the sexual attraction is just one component of the chemistry and the compendium of things that go in a perfect relationship. And remember, certain things change over time, right? 40 years from now, are you going to be attracted to the person because, of their prowess in bed? Those things might decrease. But if you love someone because they're caring, they're funny, they're generous, those are qualities that will last, right? Another thing that we hear sometimes is that people say that women have different emotions than men. That's not true. It's not true. All human beings, including men, feel similar things. The thing is that the way they express it, that's where the difference is. Men have their way of expressing feelings, and women have their way, right? It's not about they're different. It's just that society has created a framework, a platform whereby men feel restricted to be overly emotional, and women feel they have they are more free. They are more comfortable expressing their emotions. So what I'm trying to say here is that as you get into the dating market, you want to really know what you want, and you want to date certain cliches. They're very important. Now, remember that people are talking about true love is constant or physical attraction fades over time. That's not true either. The thing here is it's all about the chemistry between the partners. True love is never constant. It's something you have to work on every single day, every single hour. It is a flower you need to water all the time for it to remain true love. Simply because you found someone that you're comfortable with, that you click with, doesn't mean 3 years from now, 1 year from now, or even 2 weeks from now, the click will still be there, right? Or if you're talking about physical attraction fades over time, that's not true. We all know seniors who take good care of their bodies, and they are active, and they are pursuing interests that are very important to them. So it's all about, even though as we age we have fewer hormones, it's all about the chemistry. It's all about the emotional balance. It's all about how those things are being expressed, right? Another thing is that another myth and misconception that people have is that you can change people. You can change things you don't like about someone. No, you cannot change. You can't change anyone. You cannot change anyone. Would you want somebody to come and change you? No. People change only if and when they want to change. And unfortunately, people change when disaster strikes, when something extraordinary happens, either good or bad, but usually on the negative side. That's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Right? So basically the thing here is that don't try to change someone. It's not going to happen. All right? Now, don't also believe that disagreements or conflicts will create problems in a relationship. No. They might, but they're not the source of a breakup. Conflicts is normal to a certain extent in a human relationship, because think about it. You have two different people who have never met before coming together and saying, we're going to run this show together. We're going to live for 40 years, hopefully together. It takes a lot of courtesy, a lot of constant juggling to make sure the relationship works. So of course, sometimes things will happen and arguments will be heard, but it's not bad. It's constructive criticism, constructive conflict is a good thing in a relationship. So know these things before you get back into the dating market. All right. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're still having a conversation here about, how to find the right person. And I want to tell you first that you need to familiarize yourself with relationship builders and killers. There are certain things that are relationship killers. They destroy relationships. All right. Now, one thing you need to understand here is that, again, loneliness. Before you get into the job market, make sure that, the dating market, just make sure that you are comfortable living as a single. That you're not putting all your emotional baggage into somebody else's life, right? So there are some obstacles to finding love, right? So the thing here is that don't be discouraged if you're not finding someone within 1 month or 2 months. If you've been on a dating website and nobody's responding to you, that's okay. That's okay. You have to work on your emotional baggage. You have to be comfortable. You have to do your catharsis. You have to heal before that next partner will walk into your life, right? The thing is that don't focus on the past. Don't say, well, I've been on a losing streak lately. I've been just having breakups after breakup after breakup. So chances are my next relationship will also end in a breakup. No, it might not. So the obstacles to finding love, those relationship killers, are usually in your mind. In other words, you're not confident enough, you're not comfortable enough, you're not sure enough. So those are obstacles, mental obstacles you need to overcome. If you need to work on your physical appearance, do it, right? Because nobody wants to date someone who is, hasn't taken a bath in the last 2 weeks, right? People want clean people, and you want clean people too. So take care of your body, take care of the external aspect, and take care of the internal aspect, right? And then those are relationship killers. You also have relationship builders. There are things that are great for a healthy relationship. There are things that make a healthy relationship, right? Now, a healthy relationship happens when you and your partner cultivate a connection, cultivate some kind of chemistry that is strongly centered on trust, for instance, right? Another quality, honesty, mutual respect, mutual support, equality, right? You think you and your partner are both equal in this relationship. You are both captains of the boat, right? So you have some kind of fairness. You have different identities. The whole thing about, I want to marry someone who looks like me, who thinks like me, who is like me, it doesn't work in real life. People get bored after a while. You want a different identity so that you can complement yourself. You want a different identity in your partner so that he or she can complement you. You want to base your relationship on a good sense of communication, open communication. You also want to have some kind of playfulness or funness. This is very important. Adults are eternal children, and we need to reconnect from time to time, especially when we are in a relationship, with our inner child aspect, the children in us, the child in us. We need to awaken him or her from time to time. And this is very healthy for a relationship. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're still talking about how to find the right person, and we're talking about, now let me just talk about how to find that right partner. If you've been loving the content so far, please consider subscribing to our channel and turn on the notification bell. We will love that. And share, like, and comment on this. Comment below. Let us know what you think about our tips. Now, how to find the right partner. First, you want to keep things in perspective, right? I mean, it's okay if you don't find the person within a week or two. That's fine, right? Don't basically always rely on first impressions. Like I said, that partner might be having a bad day when you met them. It doesn't mean they're bad. They're just a nasty person, right? You want to be honest about your own flaws. Be very open about your shortcomings. Just present yourself as naturally as possible, right? And the thing here is that you want to build a real connection with your next partner here, because people think of the dating game as something playful, but something of an entertaining nature, where you have apps where you can just flip right, wrong, right, left, right, left. Doesn't really matter. So if you want to build a real connection, you want to focus outward, not inward, right? You want to build a new story with your partner. You want to be curious individually and together. Be honest, be genuine, be an open book. One thing that's very important here is you want to be a good listener, right? You want to, and again, that's when you're on a date, you want to pay attention to the person. You want to listen to the person. It's very important. You want to pay attention to how your potential partner interacts, how they treat the bartender, how they talk to people on the phone. One thing that's very important, though, try to keep the phone away. When you're on a date or when you are in the initial stages of your relationship, you want to have quality time with your man or woman, right? And again, I also talked about, when it comes to finding the right partner, I talked about having fun. Make the whole thing a fun experience for you, right? There are a lot of things, there are a lot of services out there. There are matchmaking services, there are online dating events, there are singles events. They have speed dating events. All of those things are good. They may be good for business, but they're not really good for the participants. Why? Because I don't know if you've been on a speed dating event before, but you really would feel like it's more like high pressure job interview. You kind of feel like you have to meet someone for 5 minutes and trying to tell them to be with you for the rest of your life, and you only have 5 minutes of doing that. You don't need that. You really don't need that. There are other ways, more effective ways of actually finding the right person. And here they are. You can volunteer for your favorite charity or political campaign or animal shelter. You can meet people there, right? Join a theater group, film group, join a running group, hiking group, cycling group, whatever it is, sports team. Sign up for dance, art classes, cooking classes, right? If you look around in the neighborhood, you might want to join a local book club or photography club. The idea here is to be creative when it comes to activities where you can meet people. You want to be in a position where you can meet and you can have fun with like-minded people. You want your partner to be a like-minded person. Now, like-minded doesn't mean the person thinks like you or is similar to you or is identical to you. It just means the person has at least 70% or 60% of their values match yours, right? You're not going to find someone who embraces your values 100%. You're just looking for that sweet spot of 60, 70, or 80%, whatever works for you. All right. So there are a lot of activities you can do instead of going to those speed dating, all those, matchmaking events, singles events. No, look for someone who already appreciates or who already loves one of your leisure activities, one of your pastimes. It's much better. Imagine meeting a guy at a cooking class. Chances are, both you and he love cooking already. Or you meet someone at a running club. That means you and the person love running, right? Okay, I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. One thing I want to say here, and welcome back to Sweetie Kiwi. One thing I want to say here is that as you embark on the dating market, remember that you might be rejected. So expect rejections, right? So when it happens, just to handle it gracefully. It's not the end of the world. And you want to also look for certain things that could be red flags for the relationship. When it comes to rejection, though, please don't take it personally. There's nothing personal here. People are making decisions based on their past history or based on what they want, based on their values, right? So don't dwell on it. Learn from the experience. Of course, you want to acknowledge your feelings so that you can heal if there is a need to heal. But most important thing is that when you meet in the person and you want to make a move, if you want to make a positive move, you like the person, look for some relationship red flags. There are things that you want to pay attention to so that someone is not getting into your life and messing things up, right? If the person, is alcoholic, or they can't make a commitment, or they don't want to talk to you from time to time, they're overly jealous, or if your potential partner has some kind of controlling behavior, you don't want that. If you believe that and you've seen that, after a while, in the initial stages, the relationship is exclusively sexual, right? You want to really sort of think twice, right? And you don't have no quality one-on-one time with the person, or you have some trust issues, then it should be a relationship that you would not want to pursue. Okay? So we're finally coming to the end of this show. Just want to quickly recap today's conversation. Dating tips for finding the right person. So I told you to have a clear idea of dating and your expectations. What do you want exactly? I advised you to ditch the usual cliches and myths about relationships and dating. Familiarize yourself with relationship builders and killers. Know how to find the right partner. Keep things in perspective. Build a real connection. Focus on having fun. Expect rejection. Be on the lookout for relationship red flags. And you want to handle trust issues head on. All right. So this is really it, folks. I really enjoyed talking to you today about this very important topic. And here is a pro tip. Please, if you are lucky enough, if you're blessed enough to find someone you see eye to eye with, nurture your nascent relationship, right? Because finding the right person is just the beginning of the journey, folks. It's not the destination. So if you want to transform the situation from casual dating to a committed, long-term loving relationship, you need to nurture that connection, right? Invest in it. You want to communicate openly with the person. You want to resolve conflicts fairly. You want to be flexible and be open to change. Those are things that will help you find a common ground with your partner and possibly open a pathway to a bright future for you and your partner. All right. Thanks for listening. And until next time, stay marvelous.